Hey, how's it going? My name's Connor Lorber and I'm a photographer living in Portland, Oregon. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to colorize a sky using Adobe Lightroom into a picture something like this from a flat and relatively boring picture like this. So before I get started on this picture, I'm just going to point out I shot this at an incorrect ISO. I shot it at ISO 3200. My exposure is fine, but I could have got a better photo at a lower ISO if I had used a slower shutter speed. I used a pretty quick shutter speed and I could have went a lot lower, even handheld, than 1250. And also, I only recently started shooting RAW about half a year ago, and this photo was about one of the last pictures in Jpeg that I took. I was just never aware of shooting RAW before then, so I never remembered to, or I never found out to switch it on my camera. But even though this is a JPEG picture and we don't have as much of the information as a RAW file would give us, we can still make some interesting edits to it. So starting out, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop it, and I'm going to use my angle tool to straighten it out. I can't see the horizon very clearly, but I can guess where it is, and I think it's around right there. Okay, and that looks a lot straighter than originally. So I'm just going to take out some of the bottom because there's some houses down there that aren't quite interesting. I'm going to take out a little up to the top to let the trees fill the frame a little bit more. And what I want to do here is I want to silhouette the trees against the sky. I want to create this painting-like effect as you saw in the final version. So to do that, first I'm going to do is take down the highlights just to preserve some detail in the sky. I'm going to do the same thing to the shadows to take away detail from the trees to further silhouette them. Down the highlights, and I'm going to go about halfway with the blacks just to further silhouette the trees against the sky. And now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna leave the contrast. I don't want too much contrast because I have some dark clouds in the sky and I don't want a extremely contrasty sky. I might bump the exposure up a little bit, and notice how that only affects the sky because down here we have the shadows down and the blacks down already. And now I'm going to start colorizing this. I'm going to put it to the magenta. That's maybe a little too much, but I want to give it a purplish hue. And then I'm going to up the vibrance and the saturation. And you don't want to go too far because you don't want your colors to clip. You want to find a nice balance to where it still looks reasonably realistic and natural, but you also don't want it to just slap the viewer in the face in a bad way. Okay, I'm going to also minus the clarity just to have a cleaner look in the sky, a more natural look. I'm going to go down, I'm going to remove chromatic aberration just in case there is any, and on a lot of photos I will enable profile corrections to get rid of lens distortion or straighten out buildings, but in this case I shot at 105, which is pretty telephoto. And they're trees, they're not buildings, so there's not as much of a straight edge. So I think it's fine leaving it off for this. I'm also gonna just do a quick vignette, a very subtle one. And there, that was pretty quick, pretty easy. Here's the before and after. Boring photo on the right. Pretty interesting painting on the, or I'm sorry, boring photo on the left, and a pretty interesting painting-like photo on the right. So there you have it, how to colorize the sky in Adobe Lightroom. I'm Connor Lorber. I'll see you next time.